Have you ever wondered why some people seem irresistibly drawn to you? I'm not talking about a simple interest, nor about that fleeting sympathy that turns on and off in an instant. I'm talking about something deeper, that mysterious connection that goes beyond words, that seems to touch a hidden point in your soul. Is it really a question of appearance, personality, charisma? Or is there something bigger behind it, something that has its roots in the unconscious, where parts of us that we don't even know are hidden? Carl Jung, one of the fathers of depth psychology, argued that love is never a coincidence. People fall in love with you for two fundamental reasons, and neither of them has to do with what you show on the outside. They are ancient, profound reasons, linked to what you represent inside the other person's inner world. In this video, I will guide you through these two truths to help you understand why someone feels so attracted to you, or why you yourself have fallen in love, sometimes without really knowing why. And if you are here, maybe this is not a coincidence either. If something inside you feels that this message concerns you, help us to offer you increasingly profound content by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Now we can begin. We like to think that love happens by magic, that all it takes is a glance, a chance meeting, and something clicks. But for Jung, behind that spark, there is always a deeper plan, an invisible order that starts from within and guides us, often without us realizing it. When someone falls in love, they don't do it because you said the right thing or because you smiled in the perfect way. They fall in love with what you represent, with a trait that they have never expressed inside themselves, with a lost part, never lived or perhaps forgotten. In you, they see freedom, intensity, sweetness, strength, something that they themselves desire but don't know they have. And then they look at you as they look at a horizon, with enchantment, with need, with hunger. They are not looking for you, they are looking for themselves through you. Imagine a man who is always restrained, accustomed to controlling every emotion. He meets a sunny, impulsive, lively woman, and he feels attracted, enraptured. But it's not her. It's not her perfume or her voice. It's that part of himself, buried for years, that awakens and screams. That attraction is not just desire. It's the soul that recognizes a missing piece of itself. But if he doesn't understand all this, if he doesn't make that trait his own, then he risks idealizing her, putting her on a pedestal. And when she shows her humanity, her shadows, her limits, the spell will break. Not because she did something wrong, but because reality has replaced the image, and he wasn't ready to see the difference. Carl Jung left us one of the most fascinating insights of deep psychology. Inside each of us there is an interior figure, an image of the feminine in man, the anima, and of the masculine in woman, the animus. They are not the result of chance, nor simple personal preferences. They are invisible forms that come to life in our childhood, observing the way our father looked at us, or the way our mother consoled us. And they are loaded with symbols, myths, fantasies, ideals. These interior images accompany us silently, and then one day we meet someone who seems to embody them, not for how they appear on the outside, but for the energy they emanate, for their way of moving, of smiling, of being in the world. In that moment, the unconscious recognizes, and something happens that cannot be explained. We call it love at first sight, but it is much more. It is our internal world that, like an old drawing traced years ago, suddenly finds a perfect correspondence in reality. And then everything seems familiar. You feel like you have known that person forever, that you have already experienced something together, that you are destined. But it is not destiny, it is projection. It is our unconscious that has found a screen on which to pour that ancient image. And that is where the danger arises, because no one can sustain an ideal for long. No one can remain a prisoner of a fantasy without sooner or later disappointing expectations. As soon as the shadows, the weaknesses, the true parts emerge, the spell cracks, and what seemed like eternal love turns into confusion, distance, disappointment. Not because the other has changed, but because he or she was never what we wanted to see. It is the image inside us that can no longer hold up. And now, finally, it forces us to face reality. There is something that Jung taught us that few can accept. Love is not just emotion, it is transformation. Every person who has touched our heart, even those who have made us suffer, has come for a purpose. There are those who enter our life to light a spark that we had forgotten, those who force us to look at a wound that we have always avoided, those who make us collapse, to make us rebuild. Not all of them stay. Not all of them are true love. But all of them in some way have been masters, because they have shown us parts of ourselves that we did not know we had, or that we have always denied. And you too, for someone, have been all of this. A detonator, an invitation to evolution. The problem arises when these dynamics remain invisible, when we don't see that we are just repeating ourselves, when we chase the same type of person, the same pattern, the same illusion, and we say, "Why does it always go like this?" But it's not bad luck. It's the unconscious that teaches us the lesson again, until you learn, until you look, until you wake up. And so you understand that love is not finding the right other, but recognizing within yourself what you are looking for outside. When you open your eyes to this mechanism, everything changes. You realize that it wasn't love. It was need. It was a wound. It was a mirror. But that's where you start to heal. Because authentic love is born only from those who are ready to love themselves. And those who love themselves, finally, don't chase anymore. They choose. And the moment you choose truly, you begin to love for the first time. Something powerful happens when you start to see with new eyes, when you stop looking for in the other what you have never found in yourself, when you recognize your projections, your automatisms, your hidden needs. Then love stops being an obsession and becomes a choice. You no longer need someone to complete you, because you finally feel whole. And not because you have become perfect, but because you have learned to recognize and welcome every part of yourself. At that point, the other is no longer a savior, nor a medicine. He is a traveling companion, someone with whom you can grow, explore, share. But do not depend, do not chase, and above all, do not idealize. You begin to love with open eyes, to truly see who is in front of you without filters, without fairy tales, without illusions. And in that moment, everything changes. Because love is no longer born from an emptiness, but from a fullness. It is no longer the fear of being alone, but the desire to be together. You are not looking for someone who gives you meaning, but someone who resonates with what you already are. It is a love that does not squeeze, does not suffocate, does not ask, but that leaves space, that accompanies, that nourishes, and if it ends, it does not destroy you. It leaves you something. It has made you blossom. When you get there, you realize that we never truly fall in love with the other, but with the part of us that that person awakens. And if you know how to recognize that part, you can finally keep it alive, even alone. Because the greatest love is not the one you receive. It is the one you learn to give when you stop looking for yourself in someone else. The next time someone falls in love with you, or you feel that inexplicable spark toward someone, stop. Don't immediately run after the emotion. Breathe and ask yourself, what part of my soul is awakening in this moment? Because often it is not the other that kidnaps us, but the part of us that finally shows itself through the other. That's where true awareness begins. And that's where, perhaps, true love also begins. Not the romantic one of fairy tales, but the one that accompanies you in growth. The one that pushes you to become more authentic, more whole, more present. The one that doesn't chain you, but frees you. So if this video touched you even in one place, write to me in the comments. Now I understand why I loved that person. I want to read you. Because every story brings with it a lesson, and telling it can help someone else too. If you feel that what you have heard today has made you see things with different eyes, help me continue this journey. Subscribe to Emotional Wisdom and activate the bell, so we can continue together to explore that deep place where the mind and the heart truly meet.